Welcome, Slayer the Alchemist, and welcome to another edition of Sabbath Sunday. This is where Darin and I get together with you to talk all things Black Sabbath. And it's been a little while since we've done a Sabbath Sunday. So, in honor of our return, we are recording this episode on the eve of Walpurgis night. So, it seemed a fitting time for us to return to the Sabbath Sunday. So, for this Sabbath Sunday, we are giving you our dream but realistic Black Sabbath reunion era set list. All right, what do we mean by that? Well, the dream part of the set list is we are dreaming that Ozzy is able to sing all of these songs. He can sing anything from his time in Black Sabbath, and he can sing it flawlessly with no problems. Ozzy's voice is not a factor at all here. In fact, he's singing better than he did on the studio records. So that's the dream part of our
Yeah,
reunion era set list, which is a big dream, but hey, it's Walpurgis night.
gotta,
We're gonna
gotta
dream
dream
big
big.
here. Yeah, we're dreaming big here. The realistic part of our set list is that we understand that they have to play some classic songs. We can't make this just a total deep cut fest. We understand that there's certain songs that they most likely need to include in their set list. So we're trying to keep it realistic, but we also have our dreaming side of the set list too. So we're going to take this. We both have 15 songs for the main body of our show. Plus, we have songs that we've picked for what we would like to be the encore. So we're going to take this in groups of five. So, Darin, why don't you give us your opening five songs to your dream but realistic reunion era? I mentioned that already, the reunion era. So we're talking, when was the reunion? 96, 97. So yeah, pretty much from that era on. So, all right, what do you got for your opening five numbers?
Okay, we're gonna start out with the intro, Super Czar. I love when they open, where they start the show with that coming through the PA, and then we're gonna go from Super Czar into Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. So it's gonna be the first song from Sabbath Bloody Sabbath. We're gonna go to Snowblind, then Killing Yourself to Live, Saint Vitus's Dance, and Warning. The first
Wow.
five.
Wow. Wow. Yeah. St. Vitus dance. I don't know if they've ever.
Yeah,
It's kind of surprising how much stuff they did play during the reunion era that got some of it got dropped really quickly. Like you posted something on your Facebook page the other day that had cornucopia and that new
yeah.
song that they had worked on, Scary Dreams, and I commented that I had no idea that they had ever even tried to play cornucopia in the reunion era. And there's a couple other surprises too. Like I know they played Wheels of Confusion at one
Yeah.
point. So they did have some things that they tried that unfortunately got dropped really quickly, mostly because of Ozzy. But yeah, Saint Vitus dance, that's a good
Well,
one.
they never played. Yeah, they never played St. Vitus's Dance. That's just like a dream. Like they've never played that at all, to my knowledge, at any point. Um, so I mean, yeah, that's just like a wow. That would be cool. It's a song I'd like to hear.
Yeah.
But considering that in and around this time they were pulling out songs, they were pulling out some deep cuts. We had Spiral Architect. Um, Dirty Women, not so much of a deep cut, but kind of unexpected for the reunion. Behind the Wall of Sleep was,
Yeah.
kind of out of left field. So I thought, in that mode of thinking, why not say invite us to dance? So,
Yeah, and it's a
and
pretty
it has a
short
good
one
energy.
too.
It is, yeah, it's only like 2.5 minutes.
Yeah. And so that would work really well in a live setting. Okay, my show, the intro tape, like you said, super czar. And I'm going to throw in a little thing here that I would like them to have a screen behind them that projects the album cover from the song that they're playing. So you hear Super Czar over the thing, and all of a sudden an image shows of the Sabotage album cover, and they rip into Symptom of the Universe. I just think that would be an awesome, awesome show opener, tons of energy. We could also put in our dream thing too here that Bill is in perfect health and able to also nail all the drum parts. So, Symptom of the Universe, come out swinging. Then number two for me, Snowblind, classic Sabbath number. Number three, you mentioned this one also, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. Put a little asterisk next to this that we want the whole Sabbath, Bloody
Whole
Sabbath.
thing.
And
Yeah.
we want Ozzy when it comes to the where can you run to? He's
He's
singing
got
the
to nail
notes.
it.
Yeah, he's nailing the notes
He's nailing it.
like he did on the record. Not no like changing the melody line, no shortening the song. Okay, so I got Symptoms, Snowblind, Sabbath, Bloody Sabbath. Then I'm gonna go Into the Void, slow it down a little bit, get kind of slow and heavy, and then bring it down even more for their title song, Black Sabbath. So my first five. All right. So what do you
Nice.
got for your next? This would be 7 through 10.
It would be 6 through 10.
Oh yeah, 6 through 10. Sorry.
So I've got Black Sabbath. Always great hearing that. Uh, from there, going into Who Are You?
Mm,
Under the Sun, Junior's Eyes, and then Tomorrow's Dream.
wow. Okay. Yeah. Who are you? That would definitely be a
Yeah, it's out of left
cool
field, but
surprise.
coming after Black Sabbath, getting into that dark vibe of Black Sabbath, and then going from there into Who Are You with the Moog synth.
Yeah.
Oh man, I think that would send chills up and down people's spines. I think that'd be really cool. And then from there, going into Under the Sun, like the heaviness of that crushing heaviness. Oh man, you got like a trifecta right there. That would be really cool.
Oh, I'd be
It
down with
kind of
that.
yeah, and then after that, the melancholy vibe of Junior's eyes. But then it all comes up. The energy level goes up for Tomorrow's Dream. So
Yeah.
that's what I was thinking. Like playing this while I was making this list. I'm going through it in my mind. Like, oh man, yeah, but let's just keep getting heavy and heavy and heavy, and then finally release, which would be Tomorrow's Dream. So
Nice.
yeah, we're up to
Uh,
10.
I remember I think it was the last time I saw them. They had that guy Andrew WK, I think I've got his name correct. He was
Yeah,
DJing before
yeah.
they came out, and he got on the microphone at one point and said, "Oh, I talked to the guys in Black Sabbath to make sure they're not playing this song tonight." And then he started playing Who Are You? So it was cool that
Oh
he
yeah,
played it over the system, but it was kind of funny. Like, of course they're not going to play Who Are You?
I
But
never played it. Yeah.
yeah, in our dream set list, they would. Okay, number six for me is we're gonna give Ozzy a break here. Even though Ozzy's 110%, we're gonna back it off a little for Ozzy. And we're gonna go Wicked World, but I also put a slash here. I'm counting this as one song. Wicked World with some cool jamming like they used to do in the old days. Geezer, Bill, and
Yep.
Tony do a little jamming. Maybe they hit us with some riffs we've never heard before that they jam on. So we get Wicked World slash jam. Then that comes out. I'm giving this its own slot at number seven to Rat Salad. And then Bill does a short little thing. Now here's the big production number for me, right? We get Rat Salad. Bill is doing his solo. Then they do the ending to Rat Salad. Bum 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 bum. And the lights all drop out, right? Lights go
Nice.
completely black. And then all of a sudden a spotlight hits Bill and he starts singing. Told you
Yeah,
once about your friends, and and
that would be awesome.
wouldn't that be incredible? And you know
That
what?
would be incredible.
It seems like that song would be like a lot of people wouldn't recognize it, which would probably casual fans certainly would have trouble recognizing it. But you know who used to do a cover of that song live?
Uh, Probably, but I can't think of who it is. Who is it?
Guns N' Roses. Guns N' Roses on the
Yeah.
Use Your
Oh, okay. I
Illusion
think I
tour
did hear
used
something.
He
Yeah, I think
used
I
to
did hear
do a
something
cover.
about that. I'm
Axl
not
used to
a
do it on the piano. He'd sit down on the piano
yeah.
and he did
Okay.
a cover of It's All Right. So there's probably more people that might recognize that song than you would realize. So yeah. So Rat Salad into It's All Right. And then next, while Tony's got the acoustic guitar out, he does, I'm doing these as one track here. He does Orchid. He does a little guitar solo Orchid thing. And then he starts playing the intro to Spiral Architect, and they do Spiral Architect. So that's my. Or no,
Cool.
wait, I need number 10 too. And then after Spiral Architect, they do Shockwave. Bring
Okay.
the energy back up and do Shockwave.
Oh, architect and this shockwave. Yeah, I can hear that. That would be pretty cool. Yeah, I like that. That's cool. All right. Well, so now picking up where we left off, from Tomorrow's Dream at number 10, we're going to go to 11. Is Supernaut. Supernaut, the whole version, not broken up. I think the only time they ever played that I'm aware of is 74. And of course, the most famous version of that is at the Ontario Motor Speedway, California Jam. But that was kind of broken up because it has that sometimes some happy jam part in the middle, which I guess they kind of took that and made that into the ending of Symptom of the Universe. That's what it sounds like anyway. But for this Dream concert, it's Supernaut from beginning to end, performed like it is on the album. Okay. So Supernaut, You Won't Change Me. It'd be pretty cool. Hear that
Yeah.
live. They've never played that live. Then Air Dance,
Whoa.
I Will Never Say Die. And then from Air Dance, War Pigs, and finishing up with Paranoid. Because you can't they can't not play Paranoid. I mean it's impossible. You have Black Sabbath has to play Paranoid.
Yeah.
And it
Yeah.
kind of ends it on an up note. You know, we got some different vibes in the last five. We got the hoedown, jammy quality is Supernaut, and then the doomy, introspective, You Won't Change Me, the whimsical Air Dance, heaviness, crushing heaviness, not quite as crushing as Under the Sun, but pretty heavy. War Pigs, and then of course Paranoid, everyone's favorite song.
All right.
And
My
the
number 11 would be All Moving Parts Stand Still. That's got kind of
nice.
a fun, funky vibe to it that I think that they did play that live. So,
Yeah.
I think it would be a fun one. Then to go into Megalomania, kind of give us a
Cool.
long one, an epic one. And then my last three songs of the set before the encore, I'm going to do Supernaut, like you said, the full version of Supernaut, and maybe even that middle section, that percussion section in the middle. They could like extend that
Yeah.
out or something, or maybe somebody brings something out and Ozzy's banging on some percussion too, like a big
Yeah.
group percussion drum circle thing. Then after Supernaut, we get War Pigs because it's a classic. It's
Gotta have it.
you gotta have it. A lot of times they open up the shows with it, but I kind of like this idea of it coming at the end of the show. And then the end of the show proper before the encore, I'm gonna have them end with Under the Sun, just because it's so heavy that
Okay.
that way that ending of that song is. I could just yeah, I
Yeah,
could
that would be
totally
really.
hear it sort of ending the show proper. All right, so what do you got for your encore?
Well, no real deep cuts here. Going for Paranoid, Children of the Grave, Sweet Leaf, and Iron Man. Iron Man, I mean, I don't I never really enjoyed hearing them play Iron Man live, but I would feel like the show was incomplete if they didn't play it. It's they kind of have to do Children of the Grave, Iron Man, War Pigs, and Paranoid. Sweet Leaf is sort of secondary on a second tier level, but I thought after all these deep cuts and unexpected tracks from some of the lesser played albums, uh, it would kind of round things out pretty good to have the usual suspects to finish out the night. Everybody goes home feeling like they got their money's worth. So that's why I picked those three songs as the encore.
Okay. I'm gonna have them actually do two encores. After they do Under the Sun, the lights are down, the crowd's chanting, and Children of the Grave. Dun, 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 that riff starts. The band comes back out. They rip through Children of the Grave, and then they do Paranoid. And of course, extended Paranoid with Ozzy doing the whole do, 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 do. Hey, getting the crowd going, right? Taking it all out in that. Everybody thinks the show's over, but nobody goes home. Everybody's still chanting. I mean, usually you would think Paranoid would be the end of the show, but then they come out and they play Never Say Die. It's kind of a symbolic ending. Like I thought of opening the show with Never Say Die. I thought it would have that
Yeah,
feeling like here we are, we're back, never say die. But I kind of
yeah,
like it at the end, this triumphant, like, let's keep going, never say die. It's gonna keep going. There's still fight left in us. That
yeah,
kind of vibe. Yeah. So I could just picture,
yeah,
that kind of last thing. And maybe as they're doing this, remember I had said there's screens in the back that are showing the album covers. But maybe for when Never Say Die comes up, they're flashing pictures of the guys from the 70s, through history
yeah,
and stuff like that. I just think that would be a really cool, like, Never Say Die, fireworks going up,
yeah.
all that stuff at the end. And I think it would be a cool way to take
Th-
everything
th-
out.
yeah. This is what both our sets are. What back to the beginning, the July 5th show should be. That would be awesome.
Yeah.
It would
Yeah,
be
in a dream
definitely be.
world where like we said, where Ozzy
Yeah,
could still sing. And you know what? A lot of the stuff we picked, I mean, you had a couple that they've never played live before. I had one or two. I didn't have that many. And I mean, through the reunion years, like I'm looking at my set list, they played Snowblind a lot. They played Into the Void. They played Black Sabbath. They played Spiral Architect. They played War Pigs. The Under the Sun got a fair shake during the reunion era.
hmm,
That got played. And of course, Children of the Grave and Paranoid got played. So, we had some deep cuts, some real left field ones. Like for me, it was probably my big left field one is probably It's All Right. Yours
yeah.
might have been,
Sure.
Air Dance.
There it is. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think they did Under the Sun during the reunion era. I don't think they did that with Bill. I don't think they did that until the end. The
Okay.
end. Yeah, I think that was after Tommy Clufetos. Is that how you say Clufetos?
Something
Looks
like
like that's
that.
how you say it. I think he was I think the first time I heard them more recently play it. Of course, they played it Dayton, Ohio, 1872. Actually, they played it about six times back in and around the time the album came out. But there's a well-traveled boot from Dayton, Ohio, 1972 that has Under the Sun. And I also think it has Wheels of Confusion on it. But anyway, so they hadn't played Under the Sun since 1972 until the end, which I guess what was that, like 2017,
Yeah.
2020, something like that around there. Yeah, so they gave it that long of a break. Um, and it sounded good. I mean, it was tuned down. Well, I mean, it's already a down-tuned song, but it was tuned down even lower, I guess, so Ozzy could sing it. Drums were on point. Sounded cool.
Yeah. Unfortunately,
Nobody.
there's some of these. I remember you gave me a video boot of them. I think it was in Birmingham or somewhere in England where they do Wheels of Confusion on this reunion tour. I don't remember if it's with Bill or if it's with Tommy, and it's just dreadful. Ozzy is just like he's never heard the song before in his life. I mean, it's not even like he's
Yeah,
just sort of missing some of the notes. It's like he's out of time, he's out of rhythm, he's just
yeah.
struggling to even find where the melody is. And there's another song on that show too. I don't remember if it was maybe Killing Yourself to Live or Tomorrow's Dream or something like that that they tried to do and it was just horrible. And
I
then
think
they
it was
land
tomorrow.
yeah, and they landed up just so they tried every now and then. But it's a shame because when I heard that cornucopia, audio that you had posted. Ozzy sounded good. Ozzy it's kind of easy to forget that when they first did the reunion thing, 96, 97, and like those first couple years, Ozzy was still pretty much on point. I mean, he had bad nights and everything, but he was able to do this stuff, and they did seem to make some kind of effort to vary the set list up to a certain degree, and I think they could have look when they did the Heaven and Hell band with Ronnie. You know, Ronnie of course can sing anything. There was nothing was off the table, so they threw in a lot of kind of things they had never really played before, like Lonely
Yeah,
is the Word, or that maybe they had only briefly played during the original band. So pretty much everything was on the table there, and I really think the band that Black Sabbath is, they even though we've got some deep cuts in here, they could have these would have been satisfying even to just sort of on the margin fans, I think would like to. There would have been enough for the casual fan that maybe only owns the greatest hits or something like that. But there would have
I
been
think if
enough
you
deep
can,
cuts.
yeah, I think if you keep people's interest engaged by playing the songs they're familiar with, you can include a few that they're not. And I think basically the takeaway is that the people that are there at the concert, at the show, just enjoy the music. They don't necessarily have to be familiar with it as long as it sounds good. Of course, they're going to want to expect to hear songs that they're familiar with. So as long as you have those kind of peppered throughout, I think they're pretty safe. But it's a good. It would be cool for them to have introduced just some random songs like these deep cuts, which of course they never did. And I guess from their vantage point, the songs were probably too challenging. Who Are You? Maybe there was 73. I guess they had Jazz um, on tour with them for. I really can't. Really can't remember if they toured with a keyboard player. I'm sure they probably did. It was probably Jez
Yeah.
Woodruff. Um, so I mean, for that, I mean, they probably could have done "Who Are You," but well, maybe they just didn't like it enough to want to do it, and put it in the set list night after night. Air Dance, I can kind of understand that being a song that they, and you know what? At that time, after going on after Van Halen, I cannot imagine Air
Yeah.
Dance going over very well with that audience, especially after Van Halen just like tore it up, and then
Yeah.
Black Sabbath's got to come out with all cylinders firing. I mean, to just go down into a more of a moody, whimsical type of song like Air Dance probably would have had people like throwing shit at him or something. I
Yeah.
don't know.
Well, and
Um,
back then too, uh, as the tours and the albums come out, they feel obligated to, especially back then where you couldn't see a band on YouTube, or the only time you saw them live was as if you went to a show. They had no live albums out in the 70s. So as time goes on, it's like, okay, we have to play Children of the Grave. We have to play Iron Man. We have to play Paranoid. We have to play War Pigs. We have to play Black Sabbath. There becomes less and less room for songs from whatever the most recent album is. And like AC/DC goes through this too. They put out an album, they play like three songs from the record for that tour, and then they never play those songs again. Because once they put in the set list, all the things they absolutely have to play, there's only room for like three or four songs left after it, when you have that
yeah,
deep catalog and when you have a catalog with stuff that people recognize. As they went through the 70s, it just got harder and harder to find things that, although both of us are reading a book right now called Black Sabbath in the 70s, and that he mentions, I don't know if you've gotten to the chapter of the live shows yet, but he mentions that, they should have in the 70s dropped the jamming stuff, that they had cut out the jamming. They could have squeezed another one or two album cuts, into the set list, but they sort of kept that through their time in the 70s, which was very common back then. I mean, look at Deep Purple made in Japan, it's like half that record is a keyboard solo, drum solo, and guitar solos.
Yeah,
It's just what
yeah.
bands did back then. Led Zeppelin, that everybody had to take a big long solo and stuff like that. It was just sort of what they did back then. But okay.
I think that they probably could have uh, not made War Pigs. They probably were stuck with Paranoid because that's a real familiar. People like to hear Paranoid live. They probably could have like Iron Man didn't necessarily have to become a tradition.
Yeah.
Neither did Children of the Grave. Some of the songs that really got played, no matter what year it was, just over and over again. They probably could have been put on the back burner for a little while, and bring other songs out as traditional songs for the next few tours or whatever. I'm guessing that they liked playing War Pigs. I'm guessing they liked Children of the Grave and Sweet Leaf and Iron Man, and that's why they continued to play them. Fans appreciated them too, so it was a win-win. But I mean, they could have easily early on, maybe after they did maybe two touring cycles with songs from Paranoid, the album, they could have dropped a couple. They could have probably dropped like Iron Man, replaced it with Electric Funeral. They could have maybe put War Pigs on the back burner and replaced it with Hand of Doom or something like that.
Yeah.
I think it was pretty much their choice to keep these particular songs cycling. And if they didn't play them, I mean, what were people going to do? Are they going to like go out in the streets and start flipping cars over? I mean,
Yeah.
you play your set, you say goodnight,
Yeah.
people wait around for another encore, lights come on, they go home. I mean,
Yeah.
it is
And,
what it is.
and back then, concerts were, it wasn't like today where you play an hour and 15 minutes and they've got it, you know, the union is sitting back there waiting for you to end and everything. You know what I mean? It wasn't as strict in the 70s. Bands just got up and they just sort of played. So they had this flexibility that they could have done. They could have mixed up the set a little bit. They could have done more different things. Same thing with the reunion era. I mean, what I think it started off promising. We have our Black Sabbath podcast, which I haven't mentioned, Into the Void, a Black Sabbath podcast, and not too long ago we did an episode on the reunion album. And at the time, it felt like there was a satisfying amount of deep cuts on there because at the time, like Behind the Wall of Sleep and Spiral Architect, those felt like we hadn't heard them live. But what quickly happened with the reunion era was it became the first three albums with one or two a song, maybe Snowblind and Dirty Women. And that was like all you got was this rehashing of the first three records because Ozzy just couldn't sing any of the stuff after that. And I think that's what the frustration, for fans was towards the end there, that we just weren't getting any. I mean, at least like, when Iron Maiden goes out, Iron Maiden does these every other tour is like some sort of themed. They'll do Seventh Son of a Seventh Son tour, and then they go back and then they do a standard tour where they're promoting the latest record and then playing their recognizable songs. So I mean, I say this over and over that bands, if they really wanted to, could do this. They could go out and play more deep cuts, do more shows just for the fans. And I get it that, hey, I tell this story all the time. Last time I saw Black Sabbath, when Andrew WK was opening up for them, they did Paranoid in the Encore, and there was some 13-year-old kid in front of me going absolutely bananas, air guitaring and everything. And he turns around to me and looks and goes, I love this song. I was hoping they would play it, and I'm thinking that the kid probably got Paranoid like about 8 months ago. And so for this kid, it's all fresh, it's brand new. And yeah, if I had
Yeah.
seen them for the first time in 1978 or something, 77, I would have wanted them to play Paranoid too. So I get it that they feel like they have to do that, but I think that there is a way to balance that where you can throw in enough deep cuts that work in a live setting and that satisfy. The Metallica is pretty good about that. Metallica, They'll play Enter Sand. So sometimes they don't play Enter Sandman. I just Martin Popoff just posted a review of them in Toronto from like just a couple days ago, and they didn't play Enter Sandman. They played a couple deep cuts. They played, the other stuff you would expect to hear, Creeping Death and stuff like that. But they didn't play Enter Sandman. So Metallica's not afraid to mix up their set list, and even within the same tour, they'll mix up the
Yeah,
set list a little bit. They'll
yeah,
do
they're good
some,
about that.
yeah. So I kind of wish more bands would do that, but. Okay. Well, there you go. There's our dream but realistic Black Sabbath reunion era set list. Let us know what you think of our picks and let us know some of your picks down below in the comment section. Make sure you check out our Black Sabbath podcast, Into the Void, a Black Sabbath podcast, available on all streaming platforms. And until we see you again, make sure you stay heavy, stay metal.